Okay, dear parents, I hope you can see me in this second part of sensory processing disorder, uh, understanding that, and let us now go ahead and talk about how we can find out in our kids whether उनको कौन सी sensory issues हो रही हैं. Now, before I go into telling you how you're supposed to do it, I want to also speak about this sensory processing problem. 90 to also 95% of our neurodivergent kids do suffer from it. Therefore, uh, whoever is coming to us, most of them are very dysregulated kids. Some of them are regulated, but most of them, 90% of them, are having sensory processing difficulties. And therefore, they need to be, regulated so that they can learn. So, whatever skills we have to put into our kids will depend upon also how much regulation they have. Regulation का मतलब है they should not be very avoiding, they should not be very seeking nature, like I discussed in the earlier video. So, therefore, a sensory uh, integration program was started by Jean Ayers. She was a occupational therapist, and she was the person who designed this entire integration program. And she was the one who got the attention of all the people into this sensory problem which our kids face. And like you might have just felt while I was telling you about this sensory spectrum, that even you might be facing problems. We also as adults may have certain avoidant issues, or sometimes we may seek for uh, sensory inputs. So every person will have his own spectrum of problems, or but in neuro typical kids and in adults like us, we do know how to regulate our feelings, and we are able to continue our life, and we are able to learn so many skills in spite of having those sensory problems. But in neurodivergent kids like autism, ADHDs, these kids have an exaggerated problem of these sensory dysregulation, and therefore they are not able to function properly. So therefore, they may not be able to do well in academics, or they may have problems in processing the information which they are getting from the environment. So before I go into all these strategies, which I might cover in the next video, I want you to understand this sensory pyramid before I go into making you understand कि हमें how we can you know uh, how we are going to be able to uh, detect कि कौन सी problem हमारे बच्चों में है, whether they are sensory seekers or avoiders. Before that, please understand this sensory pyramid. Now, in this sensory pyramid, what you are seeing at the base of this pyramid is the all the sensory problems or sensory issues which I talked about in the previous video. We talked about proprioception, we talked about vestibular functions, we talked about tactile touch, we talked about taste, we talked about auditory functioning, visual perception, and we also talked about olfactory or smell. So when I was talking about to you about the sensory issues, now, in this sensory pyramid, you are seeing that it is at the base and it is occupying the vast space in your sensory nervous system. So, what this occupational therapy is will people will do is कि they will regulate the problems in the sensory system till they have not worked upon the sensory system, or they have not done the sensory integration therapies. They may not be able to get a good you know mm, result in the sensory motor development. That is, like, they may not get a very good uh, output when their posture is when there is postural insecurity, when there is awareness of two side bilateral movements, कि राइट एंड लेफ्ट को कोऑर्डिनेट करके कैसे मूवमेंट करनी है, या मोटर प्लानिंग, or in further step like perceptual motor also, like auditory language skills coming into the picture, attention center starting to work properly, eye hand coordination not working properly, postural adjustment not being done properly. So, till the time we have not mastered our sensory processing issues, we may not do very good in our sensory motor or in our perceptual motor skills, right? And if obviously this is not controlled, sensory motor development is also not being worked upon, perceptual also is not worked upon, then how will our cognition and intellect grow? ठीक है ना? How our behavior is going to change, our daily activities में भी problem आने वाली है, and obviously learning academics में तो obviously होगी. So sometimes, when kids come to us कि the child is not able to write in the class, or the child is not able to do the academic skills, read words and all. So what most of the therapists or developmental pediatricians will tell you, कि first we have to work on the sensory system. Only when we are able to work on the sensory system, like I was giving you an example in proprioception, कि it is helping us understanding the grading of muscle tone, how much pressure we have to apply to that pencil which you are holding in your hand. If we are holding it too tight, the handwriting does not come, correct. If we are holding it lightly, the pencil will drop from our fingers. So till the time we have not worked on all these sensory issues, how are you going to learn to write? How are you going to do those daily activities? And how is your behavior going to get controlled? So when we talk about ki, like when the kids come to us saying ki, oh, my speech is not, the child's speech is not there. So most of the time what we'll say, okay, he will have to go for OT therapy also. You might think ki, my child does not know only to speak, na? उसे तो सिर्फ बोलना नहीं आ रहा, तो why they're not sending to speech therapy department directly? We need the child to be regulated, right? We need the child to understand that we are calling his name. We need the child to pay attention. And the output of the sensory integration is attention focus, right? So jab tak attention focus nahi aati hai, to imagine parents, how will learning progress? How will this language skill develop? So only in those kids whom we feel might be, regulated or somewhere mid regulated, we can still start their language therapy. We can still start their cognition therapy. But in those kids who are not regulated, who are, so uncontrollable in just the OT room, how are they going to be controlled in the speech therapy room or in the learning abilities में how they will progress? ठीक है? So that is the thing I wanted to tell you कि approximately 0 to 3 years तो हमें sensory systems को regulate करने में ही चले जाते हैं, and thereafter we can work simultaneously or later on the sensory motor and the perceptual motor uh, parts of this pyramid, and lastly we can work on the cognition or intellect. ठीक है? So for a normal living of human being, we need to have a control on our sensory system before we start working on the cognition. And this is what I wanted to tell you about. So okay, now I'll go to the next PPT. Okay, this. Hmm. So this is what I was going to be teaching you parents, ki what is sensory self-assessment. So here what we are going to learn is how we can be able to self-assess ourselves, or maybe self-assess our kids as well, right? I don't know how this is going to go away, but anyway, I'll just continue. So, so about this assessment, now, it says that this assessment is intended to help you better understand yourself and your sensory needs, and how you can adapt to them to help regulate your emotions and improve your mental health. Here we are going to understand 6 main sensory needs areas and evaluate whether you are sensory seeker or sensory avoider or neutral. And there is also a page of ideas on how you can adapt to meet your needs in each area. Okay, so let me go ahead. So how we are going to use this assessment? So there are each senses, may there will be 10 examples. Like in touch, there is an example of physical contact. Now, for touch, if you like physical contact, then I would put a tally mark on in the seek. So if I'm liking physical contact, I'm going to put a big yes. Okay? Or you can even use 3 star for this, 2 star, and then 1 star or zero or no, nothing like that. Huh? So just put a tally mark. What you feel in the grade of like 10, you want to give 6 marks over here, you want to give 4 marks over here, you want to give 0 marks. You can do that also, or you can just put a tick mark for you to understand, to put your feelings ki like, yeah, I would put a tally mark in the sheet, and if I sometimes like extreme temperature or sometimes do not like them, or I don't really care about them, then I would put a tally mark in neutral. So this is how we are going to be putting marks to our sensations. Okay, so in the touch you have various examples like physical contact, extreme temperature, whether you like too cold, too warm, or you don't want to feel that too cold and too warm kind of a situation, avoidant hai, you're a seeker of all these feelings, or you are mid, like, I mean, okay, you may tolerate it, like kind of any of those you may tolerate it. Then textures, third, messy play, whether your child likes to play or doesn't want to play, the child doesn't want to play, or he may be okay with it, right? And whatever feelings you are going to write, na, the seeker or avoider, it should be consistent. Like sometimes he does this, sometimes, yeah, there are situations wherein sometimes the child may be able to seek that, sometimes the child may be able to avoid it. But most of the time in the whole day, what does he prefer, whether he's a seeker of that sensation or he's an avoider? You have to just put the tally marks over there. Now, the fifth was touching or fidgeting. Fidgeting meaning, he, when somebody is touching him, he's just like squirms, he doesn't like to be touched or something like that. Or fidgeting could also mean like, he cannot sit in one place, he feels like touching, here and there. Grooming, whether he likes to be well groomed, whether he likes deep pressure or not, whether he likes tactile stimulation, yani ki bete bete he likes to touch some things, in his hand and all, or whether he likes surprise touches or not, or what about the food textures and its temperature. Then we have the next one is, so like all these six sensations, may you have this touch group, you have the proprioceptive group, the vision group, the taste and smell group, and you have the vestibular. The taste and smell, they have just put it into one because it is difficult sometimes to segregate both of them. And vestibular, may you will have some 10 points. Auditory, may you'll have some 10 points. So read these things carefully today, and you may, put a tick like, okay, physical play, he loves it. So he's a seeker. He avoids it. Okay. But he is okay. But consistently, like, many kids like to play, but consistently, whether he loves to play, like you may be able to grade ki two ticks for he loves to play a particular thing, and he's avoiding to play, jumping, pushing. So all these kind of group subgroups are given in the proprioceptive group. So like these 10 points are given. So today what you're going to do is put a tick mark against all these things, whether he's a seeker or an avoider. With same with vision, whether he likes shining spinning object or whether he's seeking some objects. He likes to do artwork. He likes to read. He's very busy in the visual environment. He seeks a lot of information from there. He likes puzzles, or he's liking visual variety. Like he doesn't only like to see one thing, he may like to see many things. He may like to be, he likes bright and busy he gets very busy and very seeker for the bright TV and games. Eye contact, how is he? Whether he gives you an eye contact or not, and whether he can give attention to all the details. Same with taste and smell, whether he likes unfamiliar smells, new tastes, intense flavors. Just tick them again for whether he's a seeker or an avoider, or whether you feel he's mixed in, he has a mixed feeling for that. Same goes for your vestibular, whether he's swinging, spinning, or he's very thrill seeker. Matlab, in case you put him on a, uh, you know, uh, those not trampoline, when you go to a play area, or when you go for these melas, whether he will go on the merry-go-round without getting scared, all those kind of thrill giving activities, tumbling, or he likes to flip, or he likes the movements. When he's sitting in the car, does he like movement? Or in the elevators, does he enjoy? He keeps on pressing the buttons of all the floors so that he can keep on going to every, and then he stops and then he goes and stops and he goes. He likes that kind of movement or not. Whether he likes to rock while sitting, he is able to, rock. Uh, he likes to rock in the chair or not, and whether he likes the heights or not. Like he may climb on the table and like try to jump from there, whether he likes that or not, or he avoids going on such heights, whether he's able to balance or not. Other 2 points I'm not able to see in the slide, but I'm sure you will be getting the PDF of this, and then you can sit and mark on it. Auditory may, whether he likes background noises, whether he likes noisy places, whether he likes loud music, does he want to make his own noise, like humming, tapping, or even just speaking words, unnecessary, that it's not required in that particular setting, but he's still speaking those kind of phrases. That's called echolalia. Whether he does that or not, whether he creates his own music, like that, or any other music, or he's making sounds, or whether he likes some rhythm, or whether he's trying to explore sounds. So all these kind of things you can just put in an avoider, or put a tick on the avoider or the seeker. And then after you have done for all these senses, you may write tactile, smell, and taste, and all these 6 senses over here. And the you have to count like how many marks he's getting for seeker, how many marks he's getting for avoider. Like if there were 10 points, in the 10 points, for 8 he was seeker, and for 2 he was an avoider. You may just write those points over here, and obviously give it to us, or so that we can understand your kid in a more better fashion. Not only us, it is for you to understand your kid as well, so that when you are trying to make the child, when you're trying to take him to the occupational therapist, obviously the occupational therapist is seeing the child on daily basis, and she understands what is his avoiding nature, or what is his seeking behavior. But still I would say ki, as parents, you see the kids every day, 24/7, throughout the year. So you know what your child likes and what your child is avoiding. So you can share this information with us, so that sensory integration therapy goes in a better fashion. And all these things, whatever discussion today I had with you in this particular video, is just for you to understand. And like I said, I wanted you people to be on the same page. Sometimes you get information on YouTube and reels from various sources, but you may not be able to understand the correct picture, because some of the videos may hide something, may not tell you the whole thing. And so in this video, I have tried to make it very simplified for you people to understand, and to understand why, again, occupational therapy is important before your child starts to acquire many skills. And okay, lastly, I would like to say that so sensory processing problem, जो deficits या difficulties are there, with age or with some maturity, they may subside, but they may still be there, right? Even when we consider ourselves, we have certain sensory issues, but most of us may feel that we are regulated, but some people may feel, this I cannot tolerate. So even in a normal neurotypical person, we have those kind of problems. And when it comes to a neurodivergent kid, like an autistic kid or an ADHD kid, these problems are 10 times more. So whether they will completely disappear from their life or not, we need to wait and watch for that. But how we can adapt their environment, or what kind of sensory diet we can give to the kids, that we need to understand, right? So, in my next talk, let's see whether I'll be able to talk to you about the sensory diet as well, which most of the occupational therapists, after you leave the therapy room, they will tell you, okay, you need to give him a more messy play. You need the child to play in the sand, or you need the child to use more swings. So whatever inputs you get from the occupational therapist is this, if he is hypo responsive, so what they are trying to tell the parents is ki, they're trying to integrate the sensory system of the child, and they would want you parents to perform those activities in more amount, so that the child gets regulated and his sensory systems get integrated. Well, I'll be talking about more about this in my next talk. So parents, stay tuned, and I hope you have understood some percentage of what I've spoken. And if you have any feedbacks about this particular series, you please let me know whether you want this or you don't want this kind of teachings. Do let me know, because it takes an effort for me also to make this PPT and sit on a Sunday morning to talk about all these things when I might do something else as well in this day. So thanks, parent. For those parents who are seeing this video, I am really humbled and grateful for you to take off some time and listen to me while I was going through this PPT presentation. Thanks, parents, and may you have a very great Sunday. And do get back to me with the feedbacks of your kids' assessment. And do let me know if this has helped you in any way. Thanks and bye. Happy Sunday to you all.